and welcome once again to the Friday Focus. Myself, Graham Munsey, joined by Dave Harley. Dave, I'm going to look back tonight on a very enjoyable Caledonian Riders Championship event.
Yeah, that's exactly the word I was going to use. Very enjoyable night. Guys that are there, straight up to the tapes, right at the race and enjoying it, trying hard, battling hard, some good races, some passes, and a good night.
It's an event that I think this is the third year now it's been on the calendar. Obviously, the first 2 years it was maybe more an intermediate challenge where you were seeing sort of reserve calibre riders from the Championship and heat leader calibre riders from the National League. This year it was decided to go more with the younger guys. I think there was one National League reserve, maybe two National League riders, and the rest being the sort of the second halfers, I would call them that. But hey, I think in any sport, if you put competitive guys that are off the same level against each other, you'll get some entertainment. And boy, did we get that tonight, none less than what we'll all see race tonight, the final later on.
Yeah, definitely. And they're all looking good as well. I mean, it's a great opportunity for them to come on fresh shell, starting at the start of meetings rather than sort of half an hour at 9:15. They all look good, all solid. I think we've only had 3 fallers in the entire night, and one of them was a racing incident. It wasn't up. Yep. There wasn't anybody that kind of fell as poor riding. It was all guys really going for it. So it was a cracking night and good.
Yep, cracking indeed. So I say we'll get that final, which is heat of the night. We'll also hear from Elliot Kelly. Spoiler alert, turn off for 5 seconds now if you don't want to know what happened, but our winner of the meeting. And then we'll look ahead a little bit, a big week for the Monarchs. First away to Eastbourne, that'll be this evening if you're watching this on Saturday morning. Then home and away to Newcastle in the KO Cup. We'll speak to John Campbell about that. But David, you mentioned it there right at the start. You know, a refreshing night of Speedway. You know, okay, the pressure's off a little bit on a night like this night, but 19 heats in total, 15 in the main match, 12 qualifying, 2 semi-final, and then 4 for the 125, 150 classes, all wrapped up by 9 o'clock. And as we'll hear from John Campbell, the attitude of every rider in the pits, great. It's so happy to get this experience and want to go out there and give it a go.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke to obviously young Elliot as well, and he's so enthusiastic. It's his first time here on a full bike, and he's loving it. You know, that's what you're after, you know, folk that are enjoying it. Even you're hearing Dale Lamb talking after the meeting, and he's loved coming back and experiencing it. Wee bit disappointed with the final, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Yeah,
and I mean, looking down the lineup, I must admit, I'll put my hat out here and say my knowledge of the lower league, National League, and particularly the sort of development leagues, the Northern Development League, is pretty low. So when I looked at the lineup, there was a few names that I recognised from the second half here. Obviously, the Miller brothers were in there. Dale Lamb, we all know, has been about. I could remember Archie Freeman, who was in the lower class, coming here in a development match last year and being outstanding. Yeah. But that's good, you know, that sense of the unknown, you're not sure, but some competitive racing, you look down the scorecard just from top to bottom, 10, 7, 10, 7, 11, 6, 7, competitive racing, no one stood out and was miles ahead of the other, and there's probably 5 or 6 guys on another night could say if things had just went away there a little bit, they could have been one on the top of that podium.
Yeah, definitely, at least 4 or 5 riders that could have gone into the semi-finals. You're thinking they've got a chance here, they just need to perform, they need to get going in those semi-finals. As you say, it's some great racing, some good winners, and the young Scottish lads at number 1s, 2 and 3 making a good show of themselves as well. And
a disaster for the Miller brothers in the semi-final, though. Obviously, I think it was where were we? It was Gregor, wasn't it, that stopped on the start line, and then Lewis appeared to have got himself comfortable into second, coming off the second bend when his bike splutters a bit, and then by the time he gets it back going, he's half a lap behind, and that was the end of their challenge. Dale Lamb, after again, he got caught up in the first bend in his first race. His run round outside's got blocked. After that, I think it was 4 wins, including the semi, and the 4 fastest times of the night. But in the final, off of 1, Joe Alcock just got the jump on him, managed to get the nose in front, and then that was Lamb's challenge. He put it in, but unfortunately for Dale, it ended up on the deck in the last bend of the last lap.
Yeah, as you say, I mean, it's just a real shame for the 2 Miller lads, and engine failure in the semi-final was not even if you made it to the final you've got a chance of being on the podium, but they've tried hard. They've both looked really good earlier as well, and as you say, Dale Lamb has looked after his first race, which was a settler, he's looked brilliant through there, and he's been good, and he's battled hard in that final, battled into second place, and as you say, Joe Alcock's been there determined to get back, and was hard on Dale in the last lap, but that's Speedway racing,
And to be fair, that was maybe not unusual from Joe Alcock. He was pretty combative the entire night. He's a guy that's not afraid to put that wheel on where it needs to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're here. These guys are learning, and part of learning is you got that will to win and that determination to go and put your bike where it will to get past.
Yep. And obviously we mentioned there, we spoke about that final. Race of the night, 3 riders going for early doors, and then a wee bit of controversy at the end. We'll see that now.
So this is the final, winner take all. Dale Lamb rides from gate 1. Joe Alcock is in gate 2. Elliot Kelly rides from gate 3. And Jacob Fellows in gate 4. And Alcock makes a tremendous start, and he pins Dale Lamb to the line. And Alcock, oh, I thought he was going ahead there. Kelly's on his outside. What a battle up front. Lamb's got the chance to come through on the inside, and he's got into second. No, he hasn't. Alcock comes back. Now Lamb's into second. Kelly leads the way. Lamb showing tremendous determination. What a great race. Alcock tried a big surge into the turn. Kelly's pulled a few lengths clear, but Lamb's looking quick. This is Kelly's final lap coming up. Lamb's made a mistake there. He's held second. I think Kelly's got clear now. The tussle for second continues. Alcock goes diving through. Oh, Dale Lamb's come down, so he's not going to get in the first 3, unfortunately. That was most unfortunate. I hope he's okay. But Elliot Kelly's the winner, Joe Alcock second. I don't think there's any question of him doing anything particularly wrong on the last bend there. Tough luck on Dale Lamb. He rode tremendously well during the meeting. But it's Elliot Kelly who is the Caledonian Riders Champion.
David, as good a race, or certainly as good a first lap and a half there as you would see at any level, and I've mentioned it already, in any sport, if there's guys that are at the same level competing against each other, it will be competitive action and you'll get good racing, as it was in this case.
Yeah, good exciting racing. When the battle in the first lap was close lap, then you got the second and third fighting each other hard to try and get there, and obviously a little bit of shame with Dale coming off, but you have to give credit to Elliot Kelly, who's dealt with that first lap, got ahead and never looked back, won the meeting, and he's well chuffed with that.
That's it. 15-year-old, I believe Elliot Kelly is, top of the podium. We caught up with him afterwards as well. So Elliot, I think you said there, first time here on a 500cc bike, must be pretty happy with that to take the top spot on the podium.
Yeah, it was a good meeting. I enjoyed it. It was just took a few weeks to get used to it, but once I was used to it, I loved it. Fun track to ride.
And that final there, what competitive that was. I think you had Joe Alcock on your inside and Dale Lamb coming after you. You had to ride smart there to make sure you did not let any of the guys past.
It was a good final, good lineup. It was just, I just shut my eyes and went for it and just try to hold on.
And are these the kind of meetings that you can take confidence from? Obviously, I think, is it Malden Hall you ride for?
Yeah.
In the National League, obviously. Learning in the National League, there's some tough guys you're racing in that league. So to come here against guys, probably of similar level, a track you've never ridden before, and you're going home with a trophy.
Yeah, I think the main difference between the National League level is the gating. I mean, I've been going around and I've been gating in the National League, and when you're against the top boys, like you've got like Danny Ayres, Ellis Perks and all that, you're racing against them, and then you come against like other riders, and you just see how much you've like been brought on by them, like racing against them.
And obviously, young lad yourself, is there anyone that you want to give special thanks or anything for tonight?
Yeah, I want to do a massive thank you to my granddad. I mean, I couldn't do anything without him. He's mechanic for us, driven us everywhere, and honestly, I couldn't do anything without him.
And what next? If that's top of the podium tonight, is that something we're going to see a lot more from you in the future?
I hope so.
But well done tonight, and thanks for speaking out. An impressive speaker as well there, David. You can tell he's got his head switched on. He knows what he wants to do. Even after we stopped filming, he was sort of standing chatting to us for a couple of minutes and stuff. Really nice guy. And you know what? I can't say I've heard him up until now. Well, I'll be looking for his scores for Malden Hall in the future. You bet. And if he can carry on the kind of progress we've seen tonight, there's a guy that will be looking for a championship spot in the not too distant future.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's come out relatively new track, first time on a 500cc, won his first three races. As you say, spoke really well. He's off to Stoke tomorrow night, determined to go through and do better. And hey, hopefully we'll see him again in the future. Yeah, a good young prospect.
Yep, and I guess obviously it would be remiss of us not to mention that there was a 125/150 class tonight. Yeah. 4 races. I think Archie Freeman, I mentioned we've seen it, or Danny Smith, who was excellent. And I mentioned for the third rider in there, William Cairns, 10 years old. And I mean, okay, the other guys have got a couple of years on him, but he wasn't disgraced. That he was never more than half a straight behind.
No, exactly. He looked solid as well, going well. He was never that far behind and never looked like he put a foot wrong. It was really interesting watching the two Newcastle riders having a wee battle with herself. Obviously, Danny coming out on top at the end, and but for me it was watching when Archie Freeman saw him come steaming up his inside. Archie was clever enough to go, he's gone too fast, I'll just hold out here, cut back, and that was one of the races where he won there, so it was very good.
And I think that's the whole point, and that's the great thing, isn't it, with these 125, 150 machines, is it gives the riders that time. They are a little bit slower. I think that the heat times are around about 68 seconds, but that allows them to learn how to navigate a track. You mentioned, Danny Smith cut under and he went for a line that, let's be honest, if that was done by a 500cc guy in a championship meeting on a Friday night, it would have ended with two of them in the fence. But the fact that they've got that little bit more time, they're smaller in stature, they're smaller bikes a little bit, they can navigate around the track better. It allows that racing brain to develop. And as we've mentioned, that's what it's all about. These guys, yes, it's all about getting them track time, and the National League does that, and there's a training tracks. But how often will they get a chance to come to a championship level event? Nothing was spared by them. This was put on like any other match would be. We're still here. The presentation team were still there. A couple of small issues with the program stuff. Everything was still as it would have been for a normal Friday night, and they were able to put on a show.
Yeah, as we said, it's a good night. We're all 19 races done by 9 o'clock, as you said earlier. Guys enjoying themselves, guys out there having a good time and competing hard.
Yep, so for our job all night, we'll look ahead now. Obviously a big week ahead for the Stags Bar Monarchs. Starting off Saturday night, the long trip down to Eastbourne. I don't think there will be too many trips that are further than that for the Monarchs. And one that it's probably not one we would target for points. Eastbourne riding well at home. They demolished Leicester last weekend, albeit Leicester devastated by injuries. But Eastbourne had their blips at the start of the season at home, and maybe that's something we need to try and look to take advantage of.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's going to be a challenge for us. I mean, it's not a track that's been at this level for a while, so probably most of our guys have never been there, or might have been a good long time since they've been there. There may be a wee advantage they weren't here on Friday night, so the guys living down south don't have as far to go. But there's been some strange results. There's been teams gone to Eastbourne and win. On a night, as I always say, I'm always quite confident that we can go there, give it a chance, but it's going to be difficult, but we're here trying to get points. Yeah.
Exactly, and a big miss, of course, Josh Pickering. We'll hear from John Cameron in a second, who says Josh is hoping to be back next weekend. But I mean, Josh, I think, was 11 from 12 guesting at Eastbourne earlier in the season. What we would have given for that kind of... And we might get that. I think it was Paul Stark that's due to guest. So we may still get that from Starkey, but what we would have given to have Josh's scoring power back in the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only is he scoring power, it's entertainment he gives as well. It's well worth that. Paul Stark tomorrow night, and hopefully he does a good job for us. Ricky Mills is back for anybody who wasn't sure, so he'll be there tomorrow back at number one. And got to go there with optimism and trust.
That's your role, isn't it? You're the optimist. It's good cop, bad cop here normally. You're the good cop on that.
Didn't get me wrong. It's going to be difficult. If we get anything tomorrow night, it will be an achievement. But go there and believe you can win. That's what I say.
Exactly. And then, of course, next Friday, a huge weekend, home and away Friday, Sunday against the Newcastle Diamonds. We've had Newcastle here already this season. We know how capable they'll be around here. The likes of Stevie Worrell, Max Clegg, Matthew Weathers. There's three ex-league winning Monarchs. The rest of the team always capable of putting in some points. Thomas Jorgensen, he's a Newcastle rider, isn't he? Always seems to pop it and win a heat here. So that's going to be a tough weekend, both home and away as well. Yeah,
and it's crucial, as you'll hear from John in a second. It's a massive weekend in the season for us. That KL Cup semi-final, get us into the final, get us some fighting for silverware come September, October time. Newcastle, it's always close here and there, and is one of these things that's, I don't think the tracks are that similar. There may be the similar lengths, but yeah, it's always close. And as you said already, 3 or 4 guys that are good here. Yeah. But we've got guys that are good there as well. Josh was excellent there last year, so hopefully he's back full firing, and it'll be an exciting weekend. I'll be down to Newcastle on Sunday to hopefully see us through to the final. Yep, and you mentioned that there, obviously last year it was a little earlier in the season. It was the end of May when we went to Glasgow and won in the KO Cup, and that was a boost. It gave us a wee kick in form. Ultimately didn't work out with silver at the end, but that gives us, and hopefully that can do the same this year. You mentioned there we caught up with Monarchs promoter John Campbell just to hear his thoughts on next week. We'll hear from John now.
So John, we've enjoyed a bit of a night, stress-free, shall we say, with the Caledonian Riders Championship. It's excellent riding on show. Good to see that. But look back to the Monarchs, a big match at Eastbourne on Saturday night, a long trip, and one that will be taken minus Josh, but still must be looking to try and get some of these away points we're desperately seeking.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get away points at Eastbourne, but it'd be a challenge, that's for sure. It's I think they call this a bit of a tricky track. I think Eastbourne falls into that same kind of category, although it's a different tricky track to ours. And yeah, we always go with a positive attitude, and let's hope that we can do something there.
And then looking ahead to next weekend, probably our biggest weekend of the season so far, the way results have went in the league, a cup semi-final home and away against Newcastle. It would be a real boost to this team to get into that final.
It would turn the season completely if we can manage that, and I'm hopeful we can do that. Hopefully back at full strength by next week with Josh back in, and we'll just have to do our very best to build up as big a lead as possible here.
Of course, with Newcastle, over the years, recent memory has been some strange results of away wins on a Friday night for Newcastle, matched by bigger away wins on the Sunday. So you can't take anything for granted, home or away, with the likes of Matthew Weathers and Max Clegg coming here on Friday night, Stevie Worrell, of course.
Yeah, they've got some Armadale experts in the team for sure. We've just got to do our best. I think we've got some Armadale experts that have yet to show their best here. So if they can do that next week, then we've got a great chance.
And then looking back to tonight's Caledonian Riders Championship, a very worthy exercise, some excellent racing, and a good chance to see some guys that the sort of Monarchs faithful won't get to see very often.
It was great to see the attitude of these boys. They just want to get on with it. Alec was telling me there just now that when Elliot Kelly was asked which gate position he wanted, he said, "I've no idea. Can we just draw it out the hat, please?" And that's completely different from what we would see week to week here. But the whole nature of the event was highly competitive. They all wanted to win, and I think they all did very well.
That heat, the final, what would Heat 15? That could have graced any track at any level.
Strange enough, when we get to finals of competitions here at Armadale, we always seem to get a great race, and that one certainly was. So yeah, a good night.
So John Campbell looking at a tough week ahead, but one that the Monarchs really need to go. Obviously, keep an eye on the Monarchs social media and the Monarchs website on Saturday night for the score from Eastbourne, and hopefully we'll see you here next Friday. One last thing just to mention before we go, Dave, the Monarchs Fans Trust draw, I believe it's next Friday is the big event, the main draw. Tickets will be on sale right up until the start of the match next week. 7:30, yeah. I believe it's been quite well, tickets have been a good
excellent.
uptake.
The sales have been brilliant, and as always we can't thank enough the people that have bought tickets, the people that have sold tickets, all the people that have donated prizes. It's fantastic for us. If you've taken tickets away, remember to bring them next week. If you're not in the draw by 7:30, you can't win the prizes.
And that's it. Hey, £1 a ticket, even if you've bought some, buy some more. Who doesn't want £500 cash in their tail?
It would be a lovely bonus. That would take you down to Newcastle.
Hey, I've got my tickets, so hopefully we'll be talking for you next Friday with £500 in my tail. But thanks once again, as David says, to everyone who's up to hearing that. That'll pretty much do it for tonight. We're here, still quite nice. It's only 9:30. We've got 19 heats in 90 minutes. We've spoke to a couple of riders. We've got this done, and we've still got time for a pint to finish the night off, David. Can I say fairer than that?
I mean, you have to finish by saying big well done, Elliot Kelly, for winning the Caledonian Riders Challenge, and for everybody to put the meeting on. Fantastic night.
Yep. Thanks again to everyone, and thanks to you for watching.